Hello, I'm Diana Wynand. I'm chair of the San Fernando Valley Climate Reality Project chapter. Welcome to tonight's meeting. This is going to be so much fun. We have a great guest, Tomas O'Grady, who is going to talk about his program called EnrichLA. And before we turn it over to him to get started, we're going to do a little bit of chapter business. We always like to start off our meetings with our land acknowledgement. And tonight, I invited Wayne Morgan, who is actually the chair of Climate Reality Project Ventura chapter, to give our land acknowledgement. So as he reads that, I'm going to share my screen so you can follow along. Wayne?
Thank you. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes and respects Indigenous peoples as stewards of this land and the enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. It acknowledges the history that has brought us to reside on this land, the colonialism that is present in our current systems, and calls on us to be mindful of our own present participation. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Tongass, the Kits, Tantaviam, and Chumash tribes.
Great. Thank you, Wayne. All right, well, it's program time, and I want to, this is going to be so great. Just looking at the website for EnrichLA makes me want to be a student again, because there's so educational, but so much fun, and it's a connection to nature. It's just going to be great fun. I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Ringler, our chapter's vice chair, and Michelle will introduce our guest speaker tonight. Michelle?
Thanks so much, Diana. We're pleased to welcome tonight Tomas O'Grady, founder and executive director of EnrichLA. He lives in Los Feliz with his wife, Justine, and their 4 children. A farmer's son from West Ireland, Tomas and the EnrichLA team build and manage school gardens across Los Angeles in almost 200 schools. EnrichLA is now the largest school garden nonprofit in the United States. Their goal is to have an organic, regenerative, edible garden in every Los Angeles schoolyard as it benefits the students, staff, and surrounding communities. EnrichLA's nonprofit team designs and builds the school gardens, obtains the necessary permits, maintains them, and teaches students weekly through their STEM-based Garden Ranger program. Their philosophy supports the health of the whole system, sustaining and nourishing plants, soil microbes, and beneficial insects, so plants grow in harmony with nature. Please give a warm welcome to Tomas O'Grady.
Thank you, Tomas. I'm going to spotlight you so that everyone doesn't have to find where you are in the Brady Bunch layout there, okay? And,
can everybody hear me? Yeah.
I believe so, and we're going to go ahead and silence the chat so that we can focus on you, and we'll turn it on for Q&A later.
And then I can share in seconds. Yeah. Okay. And if I share a screen, I can still talk, obviously. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I will get right to it. Thanks so much for having me. I am Tomas O'Grady. I am the head of EnrichLA. We're a school garden nonprofit. We're about 10 years old. And mainly in the city of Los Angeles, even though we have started in Glendale Unified, Burbank Unified, and we started to build gardens in Catholic schools as well, but almost exclusively Los Angeles Unified. We have 4 kids who live here in Los Feliz. I started school gardening about 12 years ago when we were all at Franklin Elementary here in Los Feliz. We wanted all to go to King Middle School, and we decided to build a garden there. And out of that came the environmental studies magnet there at King Middle School. And it was at a time when there was a big debate about who should go to public school, who should go off somewhere else, and all kinds of debates. And long story short, King Middle School is a thriving public school here in Los Feliz. And the environmental studies is the most popular magnet of that school. And the garden at that school is the heart of that magnet. So we're all super proud of that, and we're super proud of LUSD for doing that. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to start sharing screen so then I can and just so I can talk. Let me see. Okay, I think I can do this. Yeah. Okay, just 1 second. So I think you want, yeah. Sure. Okay, can everybody see that? Yeah?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So, anyways, we build and maintain school gardens in the city of Los Angeles. This is the recent garden that we built actually at a local Catholic school, PBS Micro School. We took out the asphalt. Obviously, you see our model is pretty simple. Redwood raised beds, soil, all organic, obviously, and a outdoor classroom. You see it in the rear, chalkboard on the left. Don't do whiteboards. We like those retro things like chalkboards. I just find them so much more stylish and so much more, just a reminder of maybe a simpler time, right? Yeah. And the other thing is whiteboards don't hold up in the sun here in the city of Los Angeles. So the idea is to get kids into the garden, but also to get kids in to do some of their classes outside, right? And you'll see obviously in the rear, you have a shade sail. Los Angeles is perfect for outdoor learning, where you can get out of the classroom, get out of the air conditioning. And it's for the kids, it's almost like they are going on vacation for a moment. Yeah. This is another example of our garden at Topeka Elementary in, I think it's the North Valley. I can't remember. You see shed sail outdoor classroom, vegetables. We use tree stumps a lot for kids to sit around and chat. Obviously, decomposed granite in the foreground. Let's see. I'm getting a little less nervous. That's good. Okay. So we are in about 150 Los Angeles public schools, all the way from the south of LA, all the way to the North Valley, all the way to Woodland Hills, and of course, almost just about in every school really on the east side, all the way to El Sereno, Los Feliz, you name it. And we're growing exponentially. We have about a 50 school waiting list. We're delivering these days a new school garden every week at this point. So for example, this week I'm at Marvin Elementary, which is in Mid-City. And next week I'll be at Stonehurst Elementary, which is in Sun Valley. Yeah, this is Topeka Elementary again. Actually, it's a new feature we have is these new notice boards where we're featuring the 9 most endangered animals. In elementary schools, kids are really into this kind of thing where they want to know what's going on with their planet. They want to know how they can help. They're very earnest about it. And we see school gardens as a way to deliver that to them and make them feel, a little bit more empowered to do so. This is at Crestwood Elementary. This just got completed maybe last October. So this is our new thing where we're doing gardens on asphalt, no asphalt removal. For folks who are Los Angeles Unified, about 650 campuses throughout the city, they are notoriously strict, for better or worse, with regard to their permits, how you get things done. So we've been building gardens on asphalt because if you want to take up asphalt in LAUSD, you got to go through a soils test, you got to go through permits. It's the whole rigmarole. It's quite difficult. So to help schools who want to deliver school gardening quickly, we do this kind of thing where we do tree stumps, shade sail. We pressure wash and stain the asphalt, decomposed granite, and the schools still get to have a feel of an outdoor classroom. Audubon Middle School. It's our compost system we've introduced in our schools. I just want to point out we're in 150 schools weekly. We have more schools that we're building, but each week our garden rangers are delivering our program in our schools. So we're not just building and running, we're building and maintaining and teaching in our gardens. And so to introduce to LUSD again, because they're sometimes just difficult to get things done, as you probably all know, dealing with, I just heard you earlier, dealing with policy. So we've introduced a system where we have a tumbler, we have a sign, we have an easy off lid on a green bucket sticker, and the kids can grab their food scraps from their cafeteria and bring it and dump it in the tumbler, and then we add brown material every week. And it actually works, and then it solves the problem of the district being dead scared of rats and what have you, right? This is the garden at Crestwood again. I guess we're trying to build gardens that are a little bit more glamorous than the typical garden. That is what it seems schools are into, and it attracts kids. And in our case here, we wrap your typical old-fashioned red chain link fence with our CNC cut garden signs. This is simply cedar. We have a CNC machine we cut into, then the students paint into the grooves, and then we sand over it. So it's a cheerful entrance into the garden. And obviously we're talking about, the different critters in the garden and what have you, right? Let's see, I'll go through this a little quicker if I can. Garbounce Elementary in Highland Park, typical raised bed garden. Some students tooling around in the garden. It's our CNC machine where we make all of our signs. Yeah.
You don't need to rush, Tomas. Take it slow we can absorb it.
Yeah. And I'm going back to Crestwood again because we're really proud of this. Working with Los Angeles Unified. If you want to, let's say you are a person, you want to go in, you want to build a garden, you want to take up some asphalt. It's just a big deal. They have to not only test the soil, they have to test the asphalt. They have a bunch of rules that they have to go by. And it literally, in some cases, for better, right or wrong, you could be waiting maybe 2 years to go through all the permitting process to take up a piece of asphalt. So what we've tried to do in cases like that with the principal here, Tracy over at Crestwood down, it's one of the southernmost schools of LAUSD. If you look at that, there's actually no asphalt been removed there. We've raised beds on asphalt. We have 18 inches of soil. We played around with some tree stumps, some boulders, and then you can't really see it there. We've stained the asphalt to get that feel where the students they're leaving the sort of the dark black playground and they're walking into a space that's more organic or more, national parky looking, if you will. Yeah. This is our garden at, where is this? This is Toluca Lake Elementary. Outdoor sink, all of our outdoor sinks obviously flow into a little dry well underneath. Simple single temperature lab faucet, shade sail again. Shade, shade, shade. This is what, when we talk to schools and parents and students, the number one thing they're asking for is, how can we be outside with a tiny bit of shade so we can be outside and not be in that beating sun? And so we're installing these fabric shade sails in all of our schools, and sometimes with the blessing of the district, and sometimes the district's not so wild about it. But the good news is that principals and teachers out there are saying, you know what, I don't care. Let's get this done. Let's get these installed, and the proof is in the pudding with the amount of school sites that we have. Yeah. We do bioswales in a lot of our schools. Simply a bioswale is digging down, loading with rocks, building up, and directing either a downspout or a sloping asphalt into it. So we obviously collecting some water at the school site as opposed to going off to the ocean, obviously. Garden Rangers, our Garden Ranger program. We have a garden ranger in every school. So like I said, we are building, but then we are coming on a weekly basis and teaching the kids and then allowing teachers to have a garden without all the hassle and the responsibility of taking care of that garden and the sort of sometimes the thankless task of running the project. Yep. This is another view of the garden at PBS. You'll see there in the foreground, we just use a simple water-based sandy asphalt color. We pressure wash it first. And hey, presto, you have a full outdoor classroom there with everything you need, not just for our garden rangers to teach the students in the garden, but for any teacher with students to go out there and have a nice time for an hour instead of being stuck inside in an air-conditioned classroom. Yeah. Garden ranger, a lot of fun. We're, outdoor sink again, pretty simple stuff. You keep going here. This is another example where in a lot of our schools, it's wall-to-wall asphalt, and LAUSD cannot get asphalt up quick enough. It's going to take them a decade. Right or wrong, that's what it's going to take. They've paved over the whole freaking thing. And in the meantime, these students need to be outdoors, and this is an example of where we've done tree stumps, shade sails. We've stenciled into the asphalt and in this case, the nine most endangered species as we see it. Yeah. To our classroom again. Some more of our CNC signage for the garden. I'll keep going here. Starr Elementary in Hollywood. This is the garden we just did at John Muir Elementary in Glendale. Oddly enough, Glendale Unified, where, my goodness, we've never worked with them before, our first school with them, and they're all over it. Their facilities division wrote us a letter, said, what can we do to get you into our schools? And it's just funny how some of the smaller districts sometimes can be easier to deal with and make it super quick to, and that is the Thriving Garden. That's just when it's built, and it's doing very well over there. This is Garden Ranger at Carson Gore Elementary. Actually, Carson Gore Elementary, as you all know, obviously, named after Rachel Carson and, of course, Al Gore. Yeah. Outdoor classroom. Carvons Elementary in Highland Park. Carson Gore. New garden we just built at Woodland Hills Elementary. These are very typical of our gardens, 18-inch high redwood beds, soil, vegetables, what have you. I don't think anything that we're doing here is rocket science, or we haven't invented anything other than we're delivering at scale, and we're delivering affordably to public schools who want to embrace this, get their kids out of the classroom, and get teachers and everybody out again and reinvigorate the public school gardening movement. And we're doing it. We're doing it at a large scale, and we're doing it so affordably. We have almost a 50 school waiting list. So, I mean, I understand some people say, well, why can't you do better? Why can't you do bigger? Why can't you take out asphalt? Why can't you do the other? Well, I think our students today can't wait for that. They need to get it right now, and that's what we're delivering. Yeah. We've helped out a friend of ours down in Palo Verde's, pvschoolgardens.org, Diana Heffernan. Maybe some of you know her. This is our outdoor classroom over at El Sereno Middle School, which is our headquarters. We have almost an acre there. There's an environmental studies magnet there as well. This is a good example, Tom Bradley Elementary, where it's sort of a ranger station. You see what we try to do there? We try to combine a bunch of materials, get a bunch of facilities into one table. Outdoor sink, green chalkboard, notice board on the right, rain gauge, thermometer, and on the back side of that, of course, is a sign to tell people about the school garden, in the street. The thing we're doing too is principals who are saying to us, for those of you who don't know, Los Angeles Unified is hemorrhaging students. They are dropping in enrollment, for various reasons. And so they're looking for ways to soften up their image and convince those parents that they should send their kids to these school sites. And this is one of the ways that they're doing it, saying that, we're a school, we're organic, we're genteel, we're doing the best we can to take care of your kids. Yeah, that makes sense. This is a picture of El Sereno, our new vineyard at El Sereno Middle School. All the way on the left there, we're growing Chardonnay grapes. Yeah. Oh, it's just various pictures from students out in our outdoor classrooms. Can't remember. Tulsa Elementary. Okay. This is the garden we did for, I can't remember the name of the school. It's a little parking lot. We demoed it out, built a big, so almost like a galley kitchen garden, if you will. Yeah. Outdoor classroom at El Sereno Middle School. Very simple again. Redwood tables, shade sail to off the beating sun, pressure washed asphalt, stain it, and hey presto. And these things are so freaking popular with teachers and students in our public schools. It's a way for them to get out, get away, just be in a little bit of a breeze. Yeah. Logan Elementary here in Echo Park. Maybury Elementary, TV schools. I can't remember. Logan Elementary. Okay, this is a good one. Charamai Elementary here in Hollywood. This is an arroyo we built a couple of years ago. And at the top of this picture, the buildings have downspouts that flow into this. And if you look carefully, all we've done is we've dug out the middle, built up the highs, did gravel, boulders, and that thing floods during rainstorms, which is really cool. And that water is all dripping into the school site as opposed to going out to the storm drain, which is right at the bottom of Beechwood there, for those of you might know that area. Carson Gore Elementary. This is King Middle School is kind of, well, it's my local school, and I'm always doing projects there. There's a real active parent and teacher community there. This is an ecosystem garden we built there. And the message here is saying to students, it's a tiny little space. This is a space we've set aside from school. Humans, please don't walk through. This is for habitat. This is for the others that we've, for all the various critters that we've stolen habitat from. And of course, this is in the news with P22 and all that stuff. Yeah. West Vernon Elementary, another example of a dry creek. At the left-hand side of this, we have a downspout running into it, and there's floods. Yeah. King Middle School, a central quads, ecosystem, more signs. Keep going here. El Sereno Middle School. This is another example. This is Aldama Elementary up in Highland Park. Once again, an old asphalt thing. We pressure washed it. We stained in DG color. Then we did our stencils with, in this case, it's butterflies, etc. Picnic tables, and that thing is cluttered all the time with teachers and students. Yeah, this is Harvest over Carson Gore Elementary a while back. Yeah, nursery at Jefferson Elementary, Burbank Unified, Sherman Oaks Elementary, the outdoor classroom. Pretty basic stuff here. Once again, if you look here at the dry creek, all of our boulders and rocks are. I am, in addition to building all the gardens, I'm always scouring for reused materials. So I collect all these boulders from felled trees. We will drop everything and go and fetch felled trees and stumps. And then we are always sourcing rocks and boulders. We don't buy these things. We source them from contractors who are trying to get rid of them. And we store them at different school sites. And then we keep shifting them into schools as we need them. Altaloma Elementary in Mid-City, outdoor classroom. I'll keep going here. This is the rooftop garden we did at Ocean Charter on the west side. This is West Vernon Elementary. This is our grapevine arbor sink. Obviously, you see the sink draining into the rocks again. Decomposed granite path in the middle. Churnamoy Elementary. Keep going. Elysian Heights Elementary, the garden there. Actually, those guys reminded us to at Elysian Heights, we were doing our signage, and they said, "You guys, you got to get your act together. You got to put it in different languages." So it was great that they reminded us of that. Weems Elementary down near USC, right next door to USC. Just look at this example again. You think of a public school, and if you look at your public schools with all your asphalt, you don't think of this kind of thing. And this is not that hard. If you look at all we've done is we've planted some olives and a couple of the fruit trees, some standard tree stumps, and some tree bark, which we get from the city and LUSC tree trimming. And hey, presto, you got yourself a little park that you can roam through. Can't remember some of these schools. Yeah. West Vernon Elementary again. West Vernon is a good example. It always struck me when I'm working there. All the way in the back of that picture, the 110 freeway rolls down there. When I'm working in that garden, you can hear the freeway when you are sitting in that school. And a lot of these LUSC schools are literally on the freaking freeway. And you can hear that noise. And the more that we can add vegetation and the more that we can plant, the more that we muffle that noise and I imagine then filter some of that, the dirt that comes from it. In fact, the picnic tables at this school, oddly, I notice every year they have a black soot on the tables themselves from obviously all those emissions. And by contrast, I noticed we put in picnic tables at Playa del Rey Elementary last year, and I was just back there, and they are super clean. So it's just interesting how different sites get different, local air issues. Yeah. This is the garden. We have at Arroyo Seco Elementary, which is really cool about that. If anybody knows that site, it's called the Arroyo Seco Museum Magnet. And there is the train to Highland Park passes by on the left. It's a really cool site. It's an old hilly site. And we built a garden up on a hill. And these the beds are recycled from all the redwoods they cut down from Descanso Gardens when they renovated their front. They renovated their front recently. And we sent trailers over there and got all those trees and recycled them. Yeah. I'm almost there. Wings Elementary. There's another Arroyo Seco. Yeah, compost. Let's see, I should talk about other things when I'm going through this. Let's see, schools. I'm going to try to summarize this in my last couple of pictures. 150 regular schools, 200 built, 50 schools on a waiting list. We're expanding mostly in the Valley, Woodland Hills, North Valley, all that area, and we're delivering about a school garden a week, which, you know, is pretty good. Let's see, sustainability. Obviously, everything we do is natural, right? We don't use any finishes. We're just using natural redwood. There's no other nonsense, no other, you know, the wood chips are from LUC tree trimming or the city of Los Angeles, using all organic soil, using drip irrigation on everything, obviously. You know, we're keeping it clean. There's nothing untoward in what we're doing. Let's see. Then all of our gardens, obviously, wherever we can, we will, well, in all cases, we're draining our sinks into the garden. And then wherever we can, we will dig out a dry creek if there's a downspout to drain water through there. So, yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to go through a couple of things. Yeah, so we're doing a lot of rainwater capture, which I talked about. Special needs, most people don't know, almost 20% of Los Angeles Unified students are special needs, whether they be physical or mental needs or other needs. Gardens are a fantastic place for those kids to come out and have a little bit of fun when they can't really, you know, they can't thrive in the classroom. And we're delivering that in a lot of our schools, in our local John Marshall High School here, and in a bunch of schools throughout the city. And one of the things that we're teaching our garden rangers, who are gardeners, who are teachers, but the number one thing we need our garden rangers to be is to have empathy, is to be kind. We don't care if you don't know about gardening. We can teach you that. We don't care if you don't know anything about teaching. We can help you with that. But you need to have that patience and that kindness for our students, so that when students come out there, they feel this is the most welcome place on the school site. Yep. More capture. Let's see, policy. I just want to touch on that a little because I know you all were talking about it earlier. I'm not saying our model is the only model, but we believe we're changing the school district through doing rather than going to school board meetings and trying to convince them to do X, Y, Z. We are building gardens. We are engaging directly with local school sites, with principals and teachers and parents. And we're delivering school gardens and outdoor spaces. And we believe we're changing policy that way. In fact, the superintendent is going to be coming to open our new school garden at Flerney Elementary, which is down south, because the superintendent heard about it from his principals and from his leadership. So we believe, you know, the way to change things is by doing rather than trying to go and change policy. What's happening, right? Yeah. Actually, the former principal at King Middle School, our first garden, is now the chief of staff for the superintendent of LUSD. So we, you know, so all of the folks that we've worked with, we think of principals who put in school gardens. They're ambitious principals. They are folks who are going to get outside their comfort zone. And those folks are now rising up through the leadership positions in LUSD. And I think they're big fans of what we do. Yeah. Let's see. Let me see. Okay. Guess where Garden Ranger. Yeah, Garden Ranger with students over at Lexington Avenue Primary. There's another thing. Los Angeles Unified is now adding TK throughout its district. And once again, gardens are a great place for these little kids to come out and feel welcome at a school site, and not to jump right into learning how to read and write and all that other stuff. There's plenty of time for that, right? Yeah. Let's see. Just see. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Okay. This is actually the dry creek at El Sereno Middle School when it was first built a couple of years ago after a rainstorm. I'm gonna cover a couple more things with this picture. Values. Okay. So EnrichLA, you know, I'm a farmer from the west of Ireland. I'm not going to say I'm a cheapskate, but I believe in value. I believe in recycling. I believe in reusing. I didn't grow up poor, but we never threw out a nail. We straightened our nails. We did every nails for nailing into woodwork. nothing was wasted. It wouldn't even cross our mind. It was just the way we were brought up. And that's what we're doing with EnrichLA. And nothing is wasted. We're trying to deliver value to the school district, deliver as many school gardens as we can, on as small as budget as you can. And that will explain why we are, the largest school garden organization in the United States, because we're literally, delivering at a rapid pace, because we are frugal, because we recycle, because we are cheap, because we don't believe in waste. And everybody who's involved with EnrichLA is getting their hands dirty and doing their work. I happen to be the executive director, but I also build every school garden personally with our team as well, obviously. Yep. I think I'm almost there. Couple other things. Some good news for y'all. Los Angeles Unified they're switching from their gas-powered leaf blowers. Thank heavens. All the plant managers are getting electric. Finally, took them long enough. We obviously do all electric. That's good news for everybody. They have brought in the green bins for compost waste, but we're composting on site, so we don't need to do that anyways. And let's see. I guess the last thing, I thought I had, as another Frank Delome Elementary, I thought I had a picture of this is Ramon Elementary, right here in Hollywood. I thought I had a picture of we're the first out of the gate with the new climate change curriculum. I don't know who's listening, who's part of LEOC, but I think it's fair to say that there are a lot of folks in leadership positions who issue declarations and decrees about how the world should be and how we should be better with regard to being sustainable. But it takes a long time to get anything done. Well, so the board, LEOC board last year passed all their resolutions about teaching kids about their earth and about climate change and what we ought to do. We're out of the gate last October with our new curriculum with regard to climate change. And so all of our students in our gardens are learning about this year, and it all adheres to the standards. So we're very proud of that. I guess finally I'll say, 200 plus school sites. There are about 600 plus campuses in LUSD. We're going to keep going till we're done. And we're not going to leave Los Angeles till we finish our model there, and then maybe we'll expand. I'm not sure. There's plenty to do in this city. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Yep.
That is absolutely fantastic work that you're doing, Tomas. Thank you so much. I mean,
thank you.
We're not all involved in the school system, but it's not hard to appreciate what you have done and what you're doing. So thank you. And to kick it off, Cheryl, who knows you, is going to start the first few questions. And I've opened up the chat. So if you have a question for Tomas or want to ask about one of his schools, type it in the chat. Depending on time, we may be able to turn on microphones and have conversation. But let's get started by just typing your questions into the chat. But let's start with Cheryl.
Hey, Tomas.
Yeah. Hi, Cheryl. And by the way, everybody, just so everybody knows, when Cheryl asked me to present, I blackmailed her, because that's what I do. I blackmailed her to join EnrichLA's board. And she said, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not speaking unless you come on our board." I'm quite transactional that way. I always want to try to get something for our organization when we're doing this. She joined our board, and Cheryl was with us at the very beginning when we started back at King Middle School, and Cheryl's daughter Apple was there. And Cheryl used to schlep all the way up to Summer High School. What's that?
It was before that.
Oh, it was even before that.
I don't know how I met you, but I got you to put a garden into Los Feliz.
Right. Los Charter. That's right.
Charter, Arts Charter.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness.
And then Apple went to King Middle School.
Yeah.
So my start off question, which I probably know the answer to, or you probably already told us, is which is your longest ongoing school garden?
Thomas Charles King Middle School in Los Feliz. And we're proud of that because it is a middle school, and middle schools are the places where people leave the public school system. I know that we're talking about gardens and sustainability here, but really it's the public school system is about sustainability. You're gonna have a great Los Angeles. You got to have people in our public schools, right? And so, yeah, that is our longest lasting garden. We're still there. There's still an environmental studies magnet there. There's still a crazy amount of teachers there who are teaching students how to be better folks in our planet. And I'm just here to say Thomas John King Middle School has a waiting list to get in to our local public school. So how do you like that? So that means it's a win-win-win-win. Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
We've got
Hi,
some.
Isabel. I see Isabel there. Hi, Isabel. I'm a fan. I've seen all your work. So, sorry.
Yes, welcome, Isabel. We've seen you on some other calls, so thank you for joining. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Isabel Duvier has done beautiful work. You've done some schools, right, Isabel? Yeah.
Yes, I've done several
Yeah,
schools. I'm
of
working in a
course.
school
Yeah.
now, and I put a question in the chat. Thank you for acknowledging me.
So
Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
Isabel,
beautiful
and
work. Yeah.
ask your question, and then we'll swing back around to some of the earlier ones.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, maybe I've got a more direct involvement with school gardens than some other people here, but I've done several school gardens that were funded by parent groups, and for the first time, I'm doing a seeds grant school garden, and it's a whole different animal. And so my question to you, kind of in a nutshell, is now that I'm doing a LAUSD seeds grant funded project, it takes a lot longer. It costs more money than any other garden we've ever done. And so I'm really inspired by your kind of quick and dirty garden projects. I know at the end of the day, our garden will be great, but the school I'm working on, Braddock Elementary, is really a miserable little school. And the amount of intervention we're doing for, $250,000 is teeny. And it's really sad. So I guess my question to you was really, do you need to get board approval? It was a little bit more specific than maybe some of these people are interested in. How does that all work?
And there were a couple of questions, Isabel, on funding. Maybe we could just open it up and conquer a few. Like, how are your gardens funded? And does initial price of $8,000 to $14,000 is that a one-time cost? And then expand into Isabel's question.
Yeah, so our model is we looked at the public school system a couple of years ago, and these larger projects just frankly often don't get built, right? To Isabel's point. So our model is to do that sort of 10,000 to 15,000 mark, sometimes even lower. So we can, it's to make it affordable enough that local school sites can dip into their discretionary funds and get a project built. And to Isabel's question, then for those kind of projects, you do not have to get board approval, because what we're doing is I'm using our own funding from other stuff, or we're using local school site money. The good news is Los Angeles Unified has moved more of its funding to local control, and that means school principals and teachers and site council can make decisions. But yeah, the numbers are very small. With regard to what Isabel was asking, for larger projects where you're taking up large amounts of asphalt and you're dealing with the seeds grant, yes, that is board approval. We've done a couple of seeds projects. We come in and try to help the school site with LAUSD, but yes, you are looking at 1 to 2 years. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Yeah. I will say just a couple other hints, things on that. We've developed kind of a reputation, for better or worse. We never pick a fight. And what does that mean? We try not to have any enemies in the whole school district. So we try to have it so that when somebody sees our email, they're like, those guys are okay. I'll take a chance. I might cut a corner. I might, I'm not saying, I don't mean cut a corner in a fraudulent way. What I mean is people will go out on a limb or something. And yeah, and even when we run into characters in the school district who are a little bit rude and impossible even, still won't pick a fight, because it's just not worth it. We would never win anyway. So just to finish on your question, Isabel, in particular, These projects, 1 to 2 years, you are taking out asphalt, so that's a great thing, unlike what we're doing with some of these smaller projects. So I think it's worth waiting for, you know, but I can help you separately on that. I'm very friendly with Lisa Williams, who runs that program, and I'm glad to, if you need my help in any way. She's a lovely human being, and if there's anything I can do to help there, I'd be glad to do so. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Just want to go back a few questions. Terry Saucier was asking, what are the first steps for a school? Like, let's say in the Valley, you said you wanted to extend or expand into the Valley.
It's quite simple. You're going to reach out to me. You can email me or fill out the form through the website. I do meetings about every 3 weeks. I try to squeeze all the meetings into one day so I can put on my clean shirt, which I have on tonight. And I go and meet with the principal and school site, and we'll do a quick look. We'll find a site, and it's quite simple. I'll walk through with the principal and some parents. I'll find a site that's south facing. I'll find a water supply, preferably an unpaved piece of the campus. If not, I can squeeze it in, bit of unpaved, a bit of paved, and then I'll walk away, and then I'll send in a quote in a couple of days. And then what I'll do is, because the more you do this, of course, the more you get to know where the little funding pots are, where money is. So, for example, John Lee, he's funny enough, he's I think he's the only Republican member of the Los Angeles City Council, and he's been an incredible supporter, and he's been helping underwrite some of the gardens in the Valley. So if you happen to be in his district, reach out to me, and I always copy him, and they've been throwing in a couple of grand to help with the gardens. And so basically what we'll do is we'll cobble together funding. I'll basically say to the PTA, you come up with $4 grand. I'll tell the principal, you come up with $4 grand. Somebody else come up with $4 grand. Before you know it, you have 12 grand, and we have a garden. And then we will then go ahead and submit it to facilities to get a permit. But the good thing about that is we've been doing it so long, everybody is fairly familiar with this, and generally everything gets approved and we get it done within a few months. Every now and then we run into an S, I'll be honest with you. Right. Some dude in LUSD who's nothing better to do than give us a lot of problems,
Right. But then you don't pick a fight, so that's good.
We don't pick a fight. We'll move on. There's plenty of kids. There's 600,000 or 700,000 kids.
And speaking of expanding, we actually have a few people from Ventura County.
Oh my goodness.
Is there any chance you might be expanding that far west, or is that not in the near future?
I think that, I don't know, maybe this is that small farmer mentality. I think I'm more clean up your own backyard first. There's so much to do here in the city. We'd love to go to Ventura. I bet you there's somebody out there that ought to be doing that and could be doing that. I'm not going to. Okay, let me just speak bluntly. There are plenty of people in the school gardening movement who do more frickin', how can I put it, TED Talks and what have you, and other stuff than actually getting the work done. We're getting the work done on a weekly basis. We're staying in the city. We're delivering to this school system that really needs help. And when we're done with LUSD, we'll come up to Ventura. How does that sound?
That sounds great. No, and Jennifer asked the question about, and Jennifer, if you want to unmute and ask it yourself, you were asking about low-income schools and possibilities of working with them.
Yes, I'm reading that chat.
Yeah, my question was very similar to Isabel, so I feel like we covered a lot of it. But okay, I was wondering about schools that, because our lower income or struggling schools, they often don't have a robust PTO or a lot of parental fundraising, and those are probably some of the schools that are in the most need for this kind of work. And I'm just wondering if you have any ways to help get gardens into those locations.
I'm because I'm an outsider. I'm not part of the district, so I can say things. I've sat in a principal's office and I've heard, just to your point, there's no money from the parent fundraising, and I'll just challenge the principal. I'll say to the principal, if I get you $8 grand, can you match it $8 grand? And then I'll go on to the school board member. I'll cobble another $8 grand. I will go on to the council member. Listen, there's plenty of money in Los Angeles. There's plenty of money chasing good projects. And the more we build, the more money keeps following us. We do a lot of garden builds with corporations, and I charge them to build gardens. Okay? If you want to come use my nail gun and my chop saw, you're going to pay for that privilege. And we're obviously funneling that money into the school sites. Yeah. So, yeah, if you have a school and you want to reach out, I'm glad to visit. And I'm there's quite a bit of Title I funding out there. I think that there's an attitude out there that people think, well, we can't do it. How can I get the purchase order? How can I move this money there? How can I move that money there? It's completely possible. And I want to say also, I think the school district, Los Angeles Unified in particular, is at a point in its life where it realizes if it doesn't green up its campuses, if it doesn't do this kind of thing, they are going to lose so many students, they might even put themselves out of business. And I'm exaggerating, obviously, but if you want to attract students in these areas, you want to attract parents to come, you've got to give them green schools, you got to give them gardens, and you got to give them today. We can't wait. We can't wait 10 years for the next bond measure. We can't wait for we can't wait. How's that? Yeah.
That's great. We had a couple of questions about the ongoing support of rangers. And what I'm going to also invite everyone to do, that's Sharon's question. And I'm going to ask everybody for the rest of our Q&A time to just please raise your hand, use that hand raise emoji, and we'll come around, just let you open your mic and ask the question directly. But Sharon, why don't you ask that to represent you? And there was another person that asked about how you support ongoing ranger support.
Yeah. So Woodland Hills Elementary is my kid's school, so we love the garden.
Wonderful! Great.
It's fantastic. Yeah. It's such a hit with the kids and the teachers.
And you have Ranger Carrillo over there. And she's like something
just wonderful.
Shot out of the cannon. Yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah.
So my question is, how are you going to be able to support the ongoing needs for rangers? I mean, they come, one day a week and they provide lessons for the kids. Are you going to be able to staff that going forward as you add gardens every year?
Well, we're doing that. Listen, we're doing the best we can. We're going as fast as we can. We're paying our rangers as much as we can, right? In other words, we're trying to meet the schools to make it so affordable that it wouldn't even cross your mind not to have our program. And then obviously we're trying to pay our rangers as much as we can to attract the best and the brightest. You're absolutely right. It's gotten better. About a year ago, it was pretty pathetic. We couldn't attract people. You probably heard about it. It was really terrible. I don't know what the heck was going on. But it's gotten better. People are coming back out of the woodwork, and we're getting better at attracting people. And we're going to keep getting more and more efficient as we can, so that we can pay our rangers as much as we can to do that. I mean, what else can I do? We cannot change our model and turn around to public schools and say, you know what? Our model is simple. It's $6,900 per year. Okay? It's a simple cost, right? What do you get for that? EnrichLA runs your school garden. We teach in your school garden. We deliver all the supplies. We take care of it. We deal with the school district. We provide insurance, workers' compensation, you name it, right? So it is a very affordable model. We cannot keep increasing that cost, because what happens if we keep increasing that cost? Then school gardening will no longer be in the school district. It's as simple as that. Yeah. So we're already delivering. We're doing the best we can, and we're going to keep delivering. And we're trying to bring in other funding and trying to find other ways to be efficient, obviously. We're really freaking frugal. I'm just telling you. We are, I'm really proud of how frugal we are.
Those numbers sound very impressive. Isabel, you had a question and about whether he grows just vegetable gardens. Do you want to ask that?
Oh, I was just wondering if you do vegetable gardens exclusively, or if you also do microforests or
all of the above, Isabel. basically when I go into any school, and obviously most schools are just interested in vegetable gardens, or that simple model. As long if there's an unpaved site in particular, then we're doing a bunch of these new sort of trails, I'm going to call them. So we'll take an unpaved piece it's in the back of the school, and we'll do a decomposed granite trail through it, and then we'll do some tree stumps where the students can sit in the middle, some signage, just sort of like a little park in the back of the school. We're doing a couple of those, a bunch of those, I guess, this year. Yeah. So all of the above. Yeah. Not just vegetable gardens. Yeah. We're trying to build out those little things in schools where we're saying to the school, we're setting aside a little section. Humans, please don't cross. We'll build it up higher so they can't naturally cross it, like a little hill. And we're reminding students and teachers and staff, we're setting this aside for the folks who've lost their habitat, right? Yeah. Right. So, yeah, we have never been more. How can I put this best? We've never been more in demand from LAUSD and its operators. Who calls us? It's usually school principal. That's who calls us. They send out a message, and we've never been in more demand. We can't, so it's working. Yeah.
Tomas,
do you want me to look at these chat questions, or do you want me to just
you talk? It was another question I just wanted to bring up from Faramars, who asked about whether or not you do this outside or do this in other counties.
No, because the moment we start expanding, right, and we're already at capacity. The moment we start going outside the city, the moment we start becoming that nonprofit, where we are, how can I put this best without being rude? Okay, I'm not going to mention any names, but then we're just another bureaucracy. That's all we are. We've just become another clearinghouse for school garden funding, and all I'll be doing is on freaking Zooms all day and doing freaking TED Talks and traveling around and taking photos. No, we're doing this in the city. We're going to do it properly. We're going to keep going back to our gardens we've made mistakes at. We're going to keep rejuvenating, recycling. We're going to keep pushing this school district to pass out every other school district in the country. And by the way, I'm assuming some would agree. LAUSD is pretty ahead on this. They're pretty open to this, compared to other school districts. I think they've done pretty good. I think all in all, I don't get a lot of problems in this school district. It seems wherever we go, we are welcomed, we are cheered, and all the way from the superintendent to the facilities part to the academic part. Yeah.
But what you're doing is just terrific. We really appreciate you sharing. Sharon, do you have a question? Just one or two more questions, and then we're going to need to wrap up.
One more. I'm curious about the proportion of elementary schools versus middle schools. Are you also doing high schools? Like, what's the range?
Yeah. But that's good. You should mention that. It's almost all elementary schools, quite a bit of middle schools. And I'm looking here, I'd say almost no high schools, other than we're delivering our program for special needs children in high schools. I don't know why that is. I don't really care, other than we're trying to deliver as fast as we can. And if that means that all we're doing in high schools is for special needs kids, well then, freaking bravo. I'll give you an example. John Marshall High School, before we had that little garden there, those kids were making copies in the copy room at John Marshall High School. And now they're out in the garden. So yeah, we'd like, high schoolers are a little bit cooler. That's not as interesting for them, I guess. Yeah. We're just, I'm just looking here at the list. I don't see that many high schools signing up. That'll probably change. Yeah. A lot of middle schools this year. We're building a really cool project, actually out near you, Sharon, at Christopher Columbus Middle School. We're taking the old ag, that's 1 acre in the back. And I'll give you guys the budget and everything. It's 1 acre. This will interest you, Isabel, as well. 1 acre. It's an old ag section. It's been abandoned for years. They've given us 50 grand. That's what we got, 50 grand. And we're transforming it into a park and a sanctuary and a whole thing and a vegetable garden and everything. And we have to deliver it by September. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
A lot of middle schools coming up, Sharon. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions for Tomas before we wrap up? Wave, I don't see anything. Wow, everyone, I hope you saw in the chat, Tomas, so many people expressed their appreciation, and this is the part I love. I say, turn off your microphones and just shout and scream in your appreciation for Tomas being here tonight. Thank you so much. It really,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
We really,
Thank
really
you guys for, and thank you guys for everything that you're doing. I'm not involved in the policy end of it. I don't have the patience for it, but thank you. I was reading through some of the stuff you're doing, and if there's anything we can do to help from a school district standpoint, obviously we know a lot of principals. I know 200 principals. Is there
I have a
something we can help
question.
with along the way?
Do you have a need for volunteers?
Yes, as long as they're volunteers that are willing to work. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All
There's
right.
a lot of
And
volunteers who are not really that good workers, and they're taking up space. Yeah. So
I understand. Well,
I'm giving you a
listen,
sense of the kind of style that we operate in. But yes.
you did mention that people should reach out if they have a school. I assume reach out if
Absolutely.
they're interested in volunteering. Do you want to pop the appropriate email into the chat so they know how to reach?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Diana,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got one quick last question.
Great, Cheryl. Go ahead.
Tomas, do you
Yes,
ever
miss.
work with the master gardeners?
Yeah. Who has that?
Master
Cheryl?
gardening program?
Yeah. I think a bunch of our garden rangers are either master gardeners, or when they become rangers, they go into the master gardener program. I'd actually say almost all of our, not almost, but more than 50% of our people come from the master gardener program. Yeah. So we've been involved with them in and out over the years. Yeah.
And do you all know, does everybody know about the master gardening program?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Can I throw out can I give one little editorial on something that's been bothering me?
Sure.
And that maybe you guys look into. So, well, here it is. It'll take 60 seconds. The city council right now and planning commission are talking about whether they should extend outdoor dining to restaurants throughout your city, right? And so I was reading the LA Times, and I see in KPCC, everyone's talking, and all of the feedback is in extend the outdoor dining, allow all these restaurants with outdoor dining. And my problem is as follows. It seems to me here in Los Feliz, all these restaurants that converted outdoor dining, they basically built fabric on the sides, fabric on the top. They've installed gas heaters on the top. It's no longer outdoor dining. All they've done is they expanded their facilities to take over their whole site, and an incredibly inefficient way to heat a space. And I would just say, I would hope that the city council and planners and others would say outdoor dining ought to be such, no supplemental heat, because obviously we know outdoor heat is a waste from a point of view of for climate change and stuff. Am I the only one that thinks this, or am I the only one that's outraged by what's going on? Yeah. So
Probably not.
I said it.
All right, good. See, you are into policy. Tomas, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you being and sharing this program with us. And now we have our sights on it. Several people were saying they're going to go back to their schools and try to see if they can't bring you in. So consider.
And we'll help you with that as well. If we don't have the time, we'll help you, and we'll try to help if we can. Yeah.
Great. And
thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Consider us a supportive partner and reach out if there's
Likewise.
anything we can do. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
Good
much.
night.
Tomas.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, this was a great meeting. Wasn't that fun? I don't know. I just get like really happy when I see those gardens laid out that way, and how nice for students to have that opportunity to really enjoy it. So, yeah, good meeting. Thank you all. Appreciate your involvement and your support and your climate activism. Have a great week.